जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotee. So today it is when today? It is 24th of September. It is Ashwini Masa or Padmanabha Masa, Sukla Paksham and Tadiya Tithi. There are no Vaishnava events in the calendar. So we shall move into our daily Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, so Maitreya Muni describing about the Virata form, how the different kinds of limbs of the Lord were manifested, and all the demigods they are taking the shelter of each and every limb, and then along with that, it is Amsha Rupena. So in each and every time when they are entering into the part of the Virata Rupa, it is Amsha Rupena, along with their functions. So likewise, in the yesterday we have seen निर्भिन्नं तालु वर्णो लोकपालो अविषिद्धरेः जिह्वया अंशेन च रसं ययासौ प्रतिपद्यते. And also along with the taste, the sense and the taste, and also the function of that limb. Jihvaya and then rasam. Rasam is the taste, jihva is the tongue. So likewise, when Varuna entered that into that jihva, so different along with the lot of all the living entities, they were able to taste. Likewise, nirbhinni ashwino nase Vishnoho avishitam padam granin amshena gandhasya pratipattihi yato bhavet. Similarly, the nose where the Ashwini Kumaras they have entered there, and so that all the living entities they can start smelling. And then later on, nirbhin akshini tvasta lokapalo abhid bhivoho chaksha amshena rupanam pratipattihi yato bhavet. And then later on, the eyes they were manifested. So, and then the sun god, he take the shelter of these eyes, and then so that living entities are able to see. They got the vision of strength of vision. And then later on, the Vayu Deva, the skin, and then skin got manifested. Vayu took shelter of that skin, and living entities, they were able to feel the sense perception. Nirbhinnasya charmani lokapalo anilo avishet प्राणेन अंशेन संस्पर्शम येनासो प्रतिपद्यते. येनासो प्रतिपद्यते. And then further, the ears were manifested, and then corresponding deity, Dig Devatas, they were also taking the shelter of the ears, and then living entities were able to hear. कर्णावस्थिभिर्भिन्नौ दिष्ट्यं स्वं विविशुद्दिशः श्रोत्रेणां सेन सिद्धस्य सिद्ध्यं येन प्रपद्यते. So now the five limbs were manifested, and further, not only the five senses, now further different like the Karnendriyas, the hands are there, and then genital, rectum, and also further the skin. So these were also manifested, and legs, hands, and legs like that. Okay, so this is further Maitreya Muni is describing about again the skin, and then by the skin, the sense of skin, one can feel the itching sensation as well. Okay, so and likewise, he is mentioning along with that one sense, and also he mentions the Brahma he has entered into the genital in his expansion, like Amsharupena, not actually as it is called Amsharupena, so that living entities they experience. Um, Okay, and also the Mitra, he has entered into the in his Amsha Rupena into the rectum. Okay, likewise, Maitreya Muni is describing we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, sixth chapter, and verse number 18. We shall cover a few shlokas from shloka 18 onwards. Swachamaste.
Amoga Prabhu,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
no, we cannot hear you well because Srila Prabhupada is chanting and there's a lot of noise. Uh, can't you be the only one speaking?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can you erase the chanting of Srila Prabhupada? It's like a mixture of sounds. At least I cannot hear you well.
Dear devotees,
Prabhuji, we don't have any problems. We can hear
yeah,
Amol
we can
Prabhuji
hear.
clearly.
Yeah, no problem from this side
Yes,
also.
we all can hear you properly. We can't hear any other chanting.
But why is it that I am hearing Srila Prabhupada chanting his japa?
Maybe in your phone or device, you might have opened that app and then first going.
Oh no! Wait! I had the Mayapur.tv on the sound. It's not coming from you, Amoga Prabhu. I'm sorry. Hare Krishna. It's all right now.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 6, verse number 18. So we shall cover a few shlokas. त्वचमस्य विनिर्विघ्नं विविशुः दिष्ण्यमोषधीः अंशेन रोमभिः कण्डुं यैः असौ प्रतिपद्यते त्वचमस्य विनिर्भिन्नं त्वचम् अस्य विनिर्भिन्नं. So त्वचम् by the skin asya of the gigantic form, त्वचमस्य विनिर्भिन्नं. So this got manifested of the Virat Rupa. Vivushuhu disnyam oshadhihi. Vivushuhu, and the Vivushuhu is the entered. Who is entering here? Disnyam, the controlling deity of the skin. Vishnuhu, Vivushuhu disnyam oshadhihi. Oshadhihi is here it is given as sensations. Oshadhihi. And amshena rombihi kandhum. Amshen with the parts, and Romabihi through the hairs and the body. Kandum. So itching. Yehi asau pratipadhyate. And when the controlling deity has entered into the skin, so previously in the 16th shloka also, the Vayudheva, so he has entered. Nirbhinnasya charmani lokapalo anilo avishet. Anilaha is the Vayu. He has entered the skin. So here, Tvacham is again, there it is used charmani. So here it is used Tvacham. Tvacham is also skin. In order to give different the functions like the sensation and also the itching sensation, itching and the sensations. It is used separately as tvacham. Tvachamas will be vinidbhinnam vivusuho dishnyam voshadihi amshena romabihi kandhum yaihi asu pratipadhyate. So that living entity experiences this itching sensation. And also here, the hairs on your body of a living entity, they're also kind of in this material world, that big gigantic trees are the controlling deities. Gigantic trees, they're also controlling deities. We would see that one later on in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, त्वचमस्य विनिर्भिन्नं विवुषुः दिष्ण्यम् ओषधीः अंशेन रोमभिः कण्डुं यैः असौ प्रतिपद्यते. So translation. When there was a separate manifestation of skin, the controlling deities of sensations and their different parts entered into it. And thus, the living entities feel itching and happiness due to touch. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, Vijay Krishna Prabhuji, would you like to read the little bit of purport, please? A small purport.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, because I'm using my headphones. The purport, no?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, O most kind Dandavat Pranams Prabhu. For sense perception, there are two principal items, touch and itching, and both of them are controlled by the skin and hairs on the body. According to Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti, the controlling deity of touch is the air passing within the body, and the controlling deity of the hairs on the body is Oshadya. For the skin, the object of perception is touch, and for the hairs on the body, the object of perception is itching.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji.
You're
So,
welcome.
in this purport, we see just only the sense perception. There are two principal items. One is the touch and another one is the itching. By the sense of touch, one feel the either it is soft or hard, either it is cold or warm. So these are the different kinds of sense perceptions. And with the itching, one can, if there is itching, if there is a scratch, and then whenever you scratch, you feel happiness. So this is Prabhupada a number of times uses. So generally the sex desire which comes within the either humans, like either man or woman, it needs a scratching, itching, and it needs a scratching, that's all. Okay, and both it is kind of a disease, Prabhupada mentions. And both of them are controlled by the skin and hairs on the body. Both of them are controlled by the skin and hairs on the body. And here Prabhupada is bringing the Chakravarti Thakura's commentary. The controlling deity of the touch is the air passing within the body. Air passing within the body. So otherwise we do not feel any touch. And the controlling deity of the hairs and the body is Voshadhya. So here it is mentioned Voshadihi. Dishnyam Voshadihi. Vivushuhu Dishnyam Voshadihi. And for the skin, object of perception is touch, and for the hairs and the body, the object of perception is itching. Okay, so that is there is not much philosophy on that one. So we shall move to the next shloka. What else are being manifested from the Virata Rupa? So here it is about the genital, and then Brahma has entered into the Amsharupena, and then where he can experience the all the living entities can experience the pleasure, sex pleasure. मेढ्रं तस्य विनिर्भिन्नं स्वदिष्ण्यं का उपाश्विशत् रेतस अंशेन येन असौ आनन्दं प्रतिपद्यते मेढ्रं tasya vinibhinnam. And then when the genital of the gigantic form got manifested, medham tasya vinibhinnam, swadishnyam ka upavishet, swadishnyam. So the one position, ka is the Brahma. Ka is the Brahma, the original living creature. Upavishet, he entered in the Amsharupena. So Retasa Amshena Yenaso. Retasa Amshena with the part of the semen. Retasa Amshena Yena by which also the living entity Anandam Pratipadyate. The living entities experience the sexual pleasure through the maidrum, genital. Maidrumasya vinidbhinnam swadishnyam ka upavishat retasa amsena yenaso anandam pratipadyate. The translation for this shloka. When the genitals of the gigantic form separately became manifest, then Prajapati, the original living creature, entered into them with his partial semen, and thus the living entities can enjoy sex pleasure. Okay, so this is again the Virata form. So just if we see here, there are on the genital part, there are Brahma is here. So okay, so the different parts of the Virata form. Okay, we shall move on further. It's not much philosophy. It is everyone's experience. Okay, next shloka is the rectum is getting manifested. And then where the controlling deity Mitra, he is taking the, he is entering with his Amsha. So that they can, living entities, they can just go do the function of passing stool and urine. Okay. So Budam Pumsa Vinibhinnam Mitro Lokesha Avishat Payuna Amshena Yenaso Visargam Pratipadhyate Gudam Pumso Vinibhinnam. Later on, evacuating outlet of the gigantic form being separately manifested. Gudam Pumso Vinibhinnam. And then the controlling deity Mitra. Mitro Lokesha Avishet. Thus, it is Mitraha. It is given as sun god, but his, I think it is Mitra. Mitra Lokesha, the director of the named Mitra, Avishet entered. He has entered the rectum. And then Payuna Amshena Yenasau. Payuna Amshena. This is with the partial evacuation process, Payuna Amshena Yenasau, by which the living entity, Venasau, Visargam Pratipadhyate, he will go for the evacuation. Visargam, that is the evacuation. Pratipadhyate, he performs that activity. Okay, again, there is not much philosophy. It is a practical experience of the living entities. Gudam Pumsa Vinid Bhinnam Mitru Lokesh Avishat Pavin Amshen Yenasau Visargam Pratipadhyate. The translation. The evacuating channel separately became manifest, and the director named Mitra entered into it with the partial organs of evacuation. Thus, the living entities are able to pass stool and urine. Okay, so that is this particular shloka, and then we shall move to the next one as well. The hands, and then hands got generated from the hands. I think Lord Indra, he has taken shelter of the hands, so that living entity can perform different activities with his hands, business of livelihood. Hastavasya विनिर्भिन्नौ इन्द्रः सर्पतिः आवशत् स्वर्पतिः अविशत्. So हस्तवस्य विनिर्भिन्नौ इन्द्रः स्वर्पतिः अविशत् वार्तया अंशेन पुरुषो यया वृत्तिं प्रपद्यते. हस्तवस्य विनिर्भिन्नौ. So hastav, the hands, asya, of the gigantic form, Vinibhinnau, being separately manifested. When hands got manifested, then Indraha Swarpatihi, the king of the heaven, the ruler of heavenly planets, Indra, Abhishat, entered into it, into the hands. And then Vartaya Amshena Purusho, Vartaya Amshena, with the partial mercantile principles, Purushaha, the living entity, Yaya Vrittim Prapadhyate, Yaya, by which Vrittim, business of livelihood, Prapadhyate, it transacts. He uses his hands for his livelihood, just going and grabbing things and performing so many activities. Again, it is our experience. Hastavasya Vidibhinnau Indraha Swarpatihi Abhishat Vartaya Amshena Purusho Yaya Vrittim Prapadhyate. So translation for this shloka. Thereafter, when the hands of the gigantic form separately became manifested, Indra, the ruler of the heavenly planets, entered into them, and thus the living entity is able to transact business for his livelihood. Okay, so we shall cover one more shloka. So that is Indra has occupied the hands position, and so that living entities are able to perform his business of livelihood. And further, now hand genital is manifested, and then rectum is manifested, hands are got manifested, and then further the legs. So here it is described here. Vishnu. So Vishnu by his expansion, he entered into the legs, and then its corresponding functions got manifest, so that living entities can move from one place to another place. Okay, so पादवस्य विनिर्भिन्नौ लोकेषु विष्णुः अविशत् गत्वा स्व अंशेन पुरुषो यया प्राप्यं प्रपद्यते. पादवस्य विनिर्भिन्नौ, when the legs of the gigantic form got manifested separately, पादवस्य विनिर्भिन्नौ लोकेषु विष्णुः आविशत्. Lokeshah Vishnuhu, the demigod Vishnu, not the supreme personality of Godhead. Lokesha Vishnur Avishet, he has entered. Gatya Swa Amshena Purusho. Gatya is by the power of movement. He got the power of movement. Gatya Swa Amshena, with his own parts. Purusho, the living entity. Eya Prapyam Prapadyate, by which Prapyam, the destination, Prapadyate, he is able to reach his destinations from one place to another place. So here, the question may comes here: the demigod Vishnu, not the personality of Godhead. So the same statement again, it will be repeated in the Vishnu, not the translation. Here it is described Vishnu Avishat in the third canto 26th chapter. Whenever Padauti Nirbighetam Gatihi Tabhyam Tato Harihi, and there Hari has entered into the feet of the gigantic form, so that living entity can walk. So there also it is mentioned, and also in the second canto also this is the same thing also mentioned. So here Vishnu is also Amsharupena, so Swa Amshena. So maybe I'm just understanding that it is the Vishnu who, otherwise there will not be any movements without the legs and the functions. In another, somewhere in the purport, I think in the second canto, there it is described by Prabhupada. Sometimes this, when we see a couple of times, then we will understand. So at the moment, just we see only the Vishnu ho. के पादवस्य विनिर्भिन्नौ लोकेषु विष्णुः आवश्यत् गत्या स्व अंशेन पुरुषो यया प्राप्यं प्रपद्यते. Translation: thereafter the legs of the gigantic form separately became manifest, and the demigod named Vishnu, not the personality of Godhead, entered with a partial movement. This helps the living entity move to his destination. Okay, so likewise, Maitreya Muni is describing about the Virata form. So Virata form here in this legs, this Virata form, it is described based on the second canto's first chapter. So this is that few of the shlokas comes into here while describing the Virata form. So second canto, first chapter, and this is 24th shloka, 25, 26. It goes on. And how the planetary systems existing within the universal form, the 14 planetary systems. This is second canto, first chapter, where Sukadeva Goswami describes different planetary systems to Parikshit Maharaj. So here, bottom planetary systems like the Patala Loka. So if you hear, if there are names are also given here. So Earth comes under here, and the navel side or the waist side, maybe approximately. And then, so for today's this one, the Indra, I think Indra has taken shelter of the arms. So here, Indra we could see on the Airavata mountain, Airavata elephant. He has taken shelter of that one. And Brahma we could see here. Different demigods are taking shelter of the Virata form. And the suns, and Brahma also here. But we will come to know a little bit more when we at the end of this chapter. Okay, so for now, we're trying to understand this Virata form, how the different demigods taking the shelter of those different limbs of the Virata. So this is called Narayana Paradeva Deva Narayana Angajaha. This is Virata form, material form, but actually Lord has got a spiritual form. And this, he is always in the spiritual world. But this is in this universe, it is the material form, which is for understanding the um, form of the Lord. For people who are not able to uh, understand Krishna's spiritual identity, for them it is described Virata form. एतद्रूपं भगवतो हि अरूपस्य चिदात्मनः माया गुणैर्विरचितं महदादिविरात्मनि माया गुणैर्विरचितं महद. So this is Sudha Goswami described in the beginning of first canto itself. Okay, so that is from the Srimad Bhagavatam perspective. So likewise, different kinds of different limbs are being manifested in the Virata form, and corresponding controlling deity taking the shelter of that, and along with the function of that function of the limb, so that living deities can experience and perform those activities. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Okay, we shall move to Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today letter to Stan, November 17th, 1970, Bombay. Okay, can I request Usha Mataji to read this letter, please?
Krishna Prabhu. If somebody can read it, Prabhu, I'm a bit busy. I won't be able to read it.
Okay,
Sorry,
Mataji.
Prabhu.
That's fine, Mataji. Okay, can I request any voluntary devotees to read this letter, please? Swarup Prabhuji, would you like to read?
Sure, Prabhu. My dear Sriman Stan, please accept my blessings. I beg to thank you very much for your nice letter dated Nil. I'm very pleased that you are in New Vrindavan for some time now and you are feeling the benefits of the transcendental atmosphere there. Actually, it is my dream to have such perfect community established fully in Krishna consciousness so that the people of your country may have a right example what is the natural way of life or pure spiritual living. Your attitude of determination to progress in your transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and perfect your devotional service to Him is very praiseworthy. Ramanandan Roy has explained that there is nothing so glorious or worth of fame in this world for a person who knows the true value of life other than to be famed as a devotee of Krishna. We are all originally situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness in our eternal personal relationship of love of Krishna. But due to forgetfulness, we become familiar with the material world or Maya. As soon as one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with sincerity and without offense, within bracket, you know there are 10 kinds of offenses to the holy name which we are to avoid very, very carefully. Bracket close. His original Krishna consciousness is immediately revived. Krishna consciousness means to be always remembering Krishna in some way or other, just like we are immediately thinking of Krishna when we chant his name, his name. Krishna, and we are always thinking how we can do something nice to please Krishna with some service or other. Or we are reading literature about Krishna or speaking about Krishna. In this way, we are always remembering Krishna, and that is our natural conscious state. So, naturally, everything about Krishna is originally known to us all, and as soon as we begin to associate with the devotees of the Lord and chant his holy name, This memory gradually becomes stronger as we remember our constitutional position of always serving Krishna in different ways. The first step you have noted is that the dirty things which are clouding our spiritual senses must be cleansed by the Sankirtana process. So, Krishna consciousness is a purifying process. If you follow the regulation of our society very strictly, you will quickly become completely purified and thus achieve the highest perfection of life, Krishna consciousness or love of God. Hope this will meet you in good health. Your ever well wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Any takeaway points, Prabhuji, from this letter?
Yes, Prabhu, there is quite a lot. In fact, here Srila Prabhupada has gone into the details of Krishna consciousness and is explaining the the meaning of the real Krishna consciousness, and he has referred to Ramananda Roy that there is nothing glorious or worthful of fame. I think this is a very important sentence which I resonated with me. Um, for a person who knows the true value of life other than to be famed as a devotee of Krishna. Uh, I think here he's really clarifying that what is the meaning of the real fame in this world, and that's a very important point. And then he has explained further that how one can develop the Krishna consciousness over a period of time with the Hare Krishna mantra by chanting the mantra sincerely and without offense. I think again that's an important point, the without offense, because some of the times though we are chanting, we need to remember about without offense part. And he has said that that is the best way to cleanse ourselves, to cleanse our consciousness, and to gain purity in our consciousness. And then he has further explained about how it is important to chant the name and think about Krishna on a every second of our life, and that is the way to connect with the Lord, and not only to purify ourselves, but also that's how we create the bonding, the love for the Lord in an intense way, and that is the way to really develop the Krishna consciousness within ourselves. um, he he has, I think I've mentioned about his memory gradually becomes stronger and we remember our constitutional position. So he is saying that as we chant the holy name, as we do the sankirtan, our memory and that this whole process makes our memory, our consciousness stronger about Krishna, and then that helps us to remember him on a everyday. He has explained in another part that all of us uh, had the Krishna's consciousness, but because of the material, this thing we forget, and this is the way to again resurface and remember Krishna, so that our mind can be fully devoted to the Krishna consciousness. There are so many points, Prabhu, but I think these are the this thing. But this is a very how should I put it? A very profound letter where Srila Prabhupada has again explained the Krishna consciousness. So, in fact, Prabhu, if you don't mind, if you can send it to us again on the chat, I think I would like to read it again and again so as to absorb it fully. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nicely explained. Okay, any other comments, dear devotee?
My hand is raised, but I can wait if any member of the Sangha would like to go first.
Okay, any devotees? Okay, Vijay Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Amoga Prabhu, thank you very much. You're most kind. Dandavat pranams. Prabhu, do you mind highlighting in blue the part of the letter where we find Srila Prabhupada mentioning the value of life? The whole sentence, beginning with Ramananda Roy. Yes, yes, yes. So this, thank you very much, Prabhu, you're most kind. This part of the letter called my attention because, again, I'm reading and studying and discussing the scriptures, I try to extract from them as many as possible practical instructions for me to use in my day-to-day life as a devotee that I am trying to be. So my zodiac sign is Virgo, and Virgo is very practical. So again, I try to extract practical instructions, and here we find a very practical instruction related to Srila Prabhupada giving the definition of what the value of human life is. So, because the question may arise on the mind of any one of us, what is the value of my human life? Is it that my human life has any value whatsoever? So we know very quickly, we know that things which have no value, the place for us to find them is in the garbage can. And the things in our lives that have value, we keep it not inside the garbage can, but in a special place, in a clean place, and etc. and so on. So when Srila Prabhupada says that the value of life is not different from becoming and being a devotee of Krishna, the practical instruction I take from that is that if I do not become a devotee of Krishna, then that is the same as living. I myself, I am living inside the garbage can. And what kind of association we find inside a garbage can? Rotting association, smelly association, association in the mode of ignorance, worse than that. Because in the garbage can, what is it that we find? We find garbage. So as soon as we stop at least trying to become a devotee of Krishna, our lives are not different from what is to be found inside the garbage can, because that is the place where we find the things which have no value anymore. We use them, and then because there's no value anymore, because they're already deteriorating, like for example, what is to be found in the garbage can? What kind of garbage we find? Like for example, rotten food. Although now the process of recycling even rotten food is happening, and we're happy for that. Still, that is what we find inside the garbage can. Things which have no value are to be found there, and that is where our lives, human lives, will be if we do not at least try to become devotees of Lord Krishna. As soon as we begin to try to become devotees of Lord Krishna, then we remove ourselves from inhabiting the garbage can, and our lives become lives filled with yes, our lives become yes, glorious, famous, and also filled with life in itself. Because the things to be found inside the garbage can, they're like dead things. There's no life to be found inside the garbage can. Everything which we find there are things which are dead, without life. So if we really want to feel ourselves alive and experience the pleasure that derives from being alive, and to be alive is not different from being Krishna conscious, then and only only then we will live life as it is. So we have to be careful about what is it that what the value. We need to be careful about getting the required knowledge for us to understand what the value of life is, what the value of human life is. And we can choose between living inside the garbage can with the dead garbage, or living outside the garbage can a life filled with life, with real life, which is not different from being Krishna conscious. You cannot experience what life is unless you become Krishna conscious. If you're not Krishna conscious, you're not different from being dead, like the things we find inside the garbage can. They're dead things because they do not have any value whatsoever. So we should make use of our lives for the service of Krishna, and then and only then we will experience the pleasure which derives from being really alive. So it's a question between choosing. It's a question of choosing between death, or being alive. It's up to us to choose. I personally choose to be alive and happy, because if you are alive, then and only then can you experience real happiness. And again, to be alive means to be Krishna conscious, to be a devotee of Krishna. And yes, Amoga Prabhu, you are highlighting in blue. Then and only then we become glorious, we become famous, and famous in the sense that we get the required association for us to experience and relish the pleasure which derives from being in good association also. Yes, life becomes complete in itself when we become devotees of Lord Krishna. If we do not become devotees of Lord Krishna, something will be always there missing. Good association, from which derives the nectar. We will lose the nectar. Our lives we will be living lives without experiencing the nectar which can be found if we decide to become devotees of Lord Krishna. So we need to reflect upon the value of life, like Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. He's being very emphatic, and it's our moral obligation at least to try to put it in practice, this practical instruction. You can choose between being a devotee of Maya or being a devotee of Krishna. If you become devotee of Maya, your place is in the garbage can, like a dead thing, with no value whatsoever. But if you decide to become a devotee of Lord Krishna, uh, uh, then and only then you will be able to experience what real life is all about and the pleasure that derives from it. Unfortunately, people in general in Kali Yuga, they have no clue in relation to uh, what to get from life when we become Krishna conscious. They have no clue, so they do anything and everything, but what is based on a poor fund of knowledge. They have no knowledge about the difference between a life with value and a life without value. Because in Kali Yuga, the human life is characterized by being covered by a poor fund of knowledge, and that is the same as to say that they have no understanding of what is a life with value and what is a life without value. And if we do not make our lives valuable, again we will be missing the nectar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nicely explained. So what is value and what is not value. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that is very nice. Any other comments, dear devotees? Okay, so that is a very nice point that about Ramanand Rai's comment that it is nothing so glorious or worth of fame in the world. So this is Kapil Bhagwan also mentioned that statement. Napasyami param bhutam akattuhu samadharshina. There is no one equal to the devotee of the Lord. Because tasmad maya arpita ashesha kriya ardha atma nirantaraha. मयि अर्पितात्मनः पुंसो मयि सन्न्यस्तकर्मणः न पश्यामि परं भूतम् अकर्तुः समदर्शनात्. There is, I do not see anyone glorious, such kind of person who is always surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Na pasyami, I do not see anyone. Param bhutam akartuhu samadarshanath. So beautifully it gives Bhagavatam the glories of a devotee. Krishna describes somewhere other one has to remember Krishna and engage. Prabhupada is mentioning here. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmarijyacha mayarpita manobuddhir mam yevaishisi asamsayaha. All the times and circumstances. How? Tad buddhayaha, tadatmanaha, tad nishtaha, tad parayanaha, gachanti apunaravrittim jnana niddhota kalmashaha. By the intelligence, tad buddhayaha, tadatmanaha, by his complete himself, tadatmanaha, tannishtaha, nishtaha, complete determination, tatparayanaha, surrendering unto the Lord. Gachanti apunaravrittim, jnan nidhuta kalmashaha, he will attain that abode. Gachanti apunaravrittim, which does not yield birth and death cycle. That abode. Jnan nidhuta kalmashaha, when he will be completely purified, situated in the natural conscious state, Krishna consciousness. Jnana, it is complete cleansing process. Krishna consciousness is the Sujjanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha. So Kirat Honandra Pulinda Pulkashabhira Shumbha Yavanaha Kasadaya. Sujjanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha. Tasmai Subhadra Sevase Namo Namaha. So there it is. He can learn the process. It will purify any person, whatever the sinful person comes to Krishna consciousness, it will clear them all kinds of sins. Salasya yato sharat. When the rain comes, it washes all the dirt. Likewise, if a person comes to Krishna consciousness, he will be washed out all impurities. It is a purifying process. So we simply follow the regulations of our society very strictly. So you will become completely purified and thus achieve the highest perfection of life, Krishna consciousness, love of God. Okay, that is very beautifully Prabhupada is describing in this purport. Okay, so here
Amoga Prabhu, very quickly, you were speaking, and what you said reminded me of the difference between the life of a crow and the life of a swan. The crow, symptomatically and characteristically, he visits he is always visiting dirty places, like the garbage can. But the swan, no, the swan, in one of Srila Prabhupada's books, Srila Prabhupada mentions that the swan, um, um, he's not like the crow. He prefers clean lakes and crystalline water, and be in the proximity of flowers, and just see the environment that the swan prefers to inhabit. It's not the garbage can. It's the lakes with crystalline water, and clear water and clean water, and beautiful vegetation, aromas, fragrances. So it's up to us to to choose. It depends on the consciousness. If your consciousness is more developed, you will not be able to escape living like the swan. But if your consciousness is dirty, the garbage can will be the place for you to inhabit and visit, like the crows do. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So this is Tadvaisiddham Ushanti Manasa Nayatra Hamsa Nirmanti Usakshayaha. So Narada Muni describes to Vyasadeva Nayad Bhajitra Padam Harer Yashoho Jagat Pavitram Pragnihita Karihe Chet Tadvaisiddham Ushanti Manasa Nayatra Hamsa Nirmanti Usakshayaha. So it is very beautiful. Again, we don't go due to time, and today is working day. So okay, that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. And from the announcements point of view, so today, Wednesday evening, we have got Kirtan evening at 8 p.m. That is our upcoming event. And the devotees, if you have got any other events you wanted to share in a bullet points way, kindly share. Otherwise, we shall conclude and continue with further japa. No events. Okay, thank you so much. So we shall conclude. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyanam
Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Anantakoti Vaishnavindi ki jai,
Jai
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai
Hare Krishna conscious day, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.